Well, hello there. It's Bradie here from Sparrow Quilt Company, and I was just getting myself all set up to work on this super cute little fusible applique project, and you may have seen me work on this in the past. So, of course, Landon was here doing some long arming, and she said, wait, let's set up and film so that we can show everybody just how fast and easy fusible applique is. Now, to make this job easier yet, I am using my backlit cutting mat, and I'm not using it with the cutting function today. I am going to be using it with the tempered glass mat so that I can do all my pressing right over the light board. So I'm just going to turn that on so you can see how that works. And what I'm going to do next is lay out my paper pattern over top of this surface. And I am now working on this little giraffe. And he is probably got the most pieces in this project. Ahead of time, I had marked where the horizontal center is, and I also pressed a line into my fabric so that I could line up this line to the line and the pattern, and then hopefully everything would stay nice and straight. Because it's kind of sprawling, it's hard to keep everything perfectly straight in relation to each other, and because I have put it away and taken it back out, it's not all going to be perfectly straight, but at least that gives me some sort of baseline to line things up to. So let's see how we do. Just going to find that center mark in my fabric and put it over the center mark on the paper. And then what I need to do is also line up the prior pieces that I've already fused onto the fabric so that we don't get any funny gaps in between our little images that are being pressed on here. Okay, that looks pretty straight and pretty lined up. So I just want to make sure that my fabric is nice and flat. I don't want to be pressing the fusible fabric onto any lumps, and then, you know, once it's fused in place, we can't really do anything about it. So hopefully you can see through the fabric a little bit, and you can see that there are portions where I have to layer several bits on top of each other. So I like to do those ahead of time. Rather than laying down all my base pieces, I'm going to build all the flowers and wheels and eyes ahead of time, and then I will layer the body and the train and everything out so that those other pieces that have multiple pieces in them can then be pressed on top of that. But if I put everything down first, I won't be able to see through it well enough in order to place everything accurately. So I'm going to start with this little flower here, and in the center of the flower there is a circle with another circle on top of it. So I'm going to do those first, and you might not be able to see this through the camera, but I can see that this little yellow dot is going to place right there on top of the blue dot. So what I need to do is peel the paper backing off. And these little applique kits can be found on the website at sparrowquiltco.com. They are, just search applique on the website there, and you will see there are hundreds of cute designs. Some of them are very child-friendly, and some of them are more elaborate and, you know, not a child's theme. There is something for everybody there in those cute little applique elements projects. But I really think that these would be a fun project for a beginner, and it's just so fast and easy to accomplish, and there really isn't a lot of piecing. After this, I will trim it down to get rid of all the extra white space, and then I will just piece a fancy border around it of some kind, and that will finish it off really nicely. I'm not placing this flower here at the moment. What I'm doing is just laying it down so that I can figure out where the center needs to be placed. And again, I'm going to peel the paper off the back to reveal the glue that's already on there. We're just commenting how warm it is in here. This iron really heats up the room. So I'm going to place this right in the center here, and then I'm going to fuse that down with my iron. And because I have that glass tempered mat underneath, everything is safe. I'm not going to be burning my light board underneath. So I hold that maybe about 5 seconds or so, and just long enough to warm up the glue so that it can adhere to the layer that is below it. That is now ready. So next what I'm going to do are build my little eyes, and these are pretty straightforward. We just have a white little eyeball there. Oh, this one is smaller. That's the bigger one there. This poor little guy, his eyes are different sizes. So once I have placed those appropriately, then I can just press those little black dots in place to create his little eyeballs. He's a little googly-eyed. Looks like he's a little mentally unstable, perhaps. Hopefully he doesn't give the new baby any nightmares. And it's not my new baby. There's another baby coming into the family, 2 in fact. So now that I have those in place, I'll just give those a quick little press. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's good for those. Next, what do we need to do next? Next, this little body, the giraffe's neck, needs its dots attached. So this fabric is quite dark, this purple. It's not as easy to see through it, so you might end up doing a little bit of flipping and checking from underneath. But you know what? If they're not in the exact same place as the paper, it's hardly the end of the world. You can lay them out wherever you like as well. And it's also an option for you. Just remember to peel the paper off the back. And what I like about this fusible is it's a little bit gummy, so when I place it, it stays where I've put it. Some of the other fusibles I've used in the past, you lay it out, but it doesn't stick while you're just setting it in place. And then you can easily displace or lose those little bits and pieces. And you can see from the size of those eyes there, some of them are really small, so you don't want to be losing your bits and pieces. But I hope you can see how fast this kind of project really is, and it doesn't take a lot of planning or pre-cutting or anything like that. In these kits, everything is pre-fused and pre-cut, and it's laser cut, so it's all nice and accurate, and it saves you a step, not having to put all the sticky stuff on the back. The fusible web. And there is home decor, there is t-shirt decorations, Christmas tree skirts, decorations for baby's room, all kinds of cute things. So I'm just going to hold that for about a count of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I always give it a little, I try to displace it. I try to displace it to make sure that it is in place. And that one I'm going to fuse again quickly because I wrinkled the edge of it when I jammed it with my fingernail. But the thing with fusible is you don't want to over press it because then it will over activate the glue and it'll get crispy and it doesn't stick anymore. So we don't want to do that either. Okay, so I've got his neck there, and I keep my little title page handy so that I can have a look at all the details. What I was curious about is the train over top of the rest of his body? And yes, it is. On the image there, his body is not over top of the train. So that is how I will lay those out. and his mouth comes over top of his neck. So the neck definitely has to go down first. So let's go ahead and peel the paper off the back of this. And then I can place it right in the outline that I can see through my fabric. And to make it easier for you, the pattern sheet is also numbered, giving a suggestion of what order you should lay out all your pieces in. So that's helpful too if you aren't able to see the details well in the picture there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll lift that. What I want to do is carefully move all of it up just a wee bit. My wheels here, I want to build those before I lay out my train car so that I can still see through. Again, we're layering, we're building the piece before we commit to attaching it all. This one's stubborn, and you really want to make sure that you are getting your fingernail between the glue and the paper, and that you're not between the fabric and the glue. You don't want to remove the glue from the fabric. You want it to stay on there. So take care that you're not peeling the fabric away from the glue. So we'll leave that there for a second and lay out this one as well. I've not removed the paper on the larger wheel. I'm just setting the smaller circle onto the wheel. And we'll do that second part after we've laid out the body of the train. Okay, so let's press those green circles onto the orange. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That looks good. Now I'll take those out of the way for a moment, and I'm going to lay out my little body of my train. So my next challenge will be just to find a bright, pretty border fabric that I can put around the outside of this panel that I'm building. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I could really have some fun quilting this, doing some cute designs all around to fill in all this background fabric. This is ready to lay down here. And this one too. Isn't this fast and easy? Couldn't you see yourself doing this? Now, the designer of these patterns says that you don't necessarily have to stitch around the outside of these appliques. I still think it's a good idea. It's going to be more secure in the long term. If you don't see yourself ever washing this item, if it's just going to hang on a wall or something, you might be okay.
And you don't have to cut them out.
What's that?
You don't have to cut out all of the pieces.
Oh, right. Everything's already cut. You don't have to cut out anything. All right. Those are in place really well. So next, what we're going to do is his head and stuff, and I'm just going to move it all down towards me. I'm making sure the paper's coming too. So that I'm not shifting my fabric over top of the paper. Now he's got these little horns, you know, little giraffe horns, and those are going to go there. So I'll lay those out first, and then his head will go on top of those next. But I'm also going to lay out this green stem that is leading to the flower. That looks upside down. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to press those in place next. Then I can add the flower, the leaves, and I can go on and do the rest of the head and face. Oh, those eyes. I could actually take these eyes and attach them onto the little face now as well. That purple fabric doesn't allow me to see through very well, but we'll do that in a second here. Let's do this little stem first. because it's kind of gummy on the back, I can actually just press it on with my fingers, and it's gonna stay where I want it to. It won't fuse until I actually press it with my iron, but it will stay in place, which is good because I have the fan going up above us here. I don't want anything to blow away. I'm just so grateful for these laser cut little bits and pieces. I've done a project in the past where I had to cut everything out by hand, and it is time consuming and you lose some of your accuracy. There is just a lot of benefit to buying these pre-fused and laser cut applique pieces. All right, and we'll fuse those horns as well. Give them a little wiggle. Those look good. Okay. So now I can just barely see through that the eye is going to go there, and this one here. So let's take the paper off the back. And the top portion of the face does go under the nose, so I want to lay down my purple piece before I bring over my nose piece. But as I was looking through all the designs that were available, there's so many neat things. There's numbers and letters, so you could personalize it with a name or the year of the birth, put a birthday on there, celebrate, like commemorate a special occasion of some kind. You could really make it your own. Looks good. So let's go ahead and fuse the face down now. And I keep my little trash can really close because there are so many little bits and pieces of paper from this project. You'll be finding paper all over the place for days if you don't get it straight into the trash can. All right, that is so, so cute. Next is his little nose. And we have unpacked and repacked this project so many times that we are missing one little black dot, so I might have to dig out something out of my stash, but we can fuse down one little nostril while we're here today. This little giraffe can still smell. All right, there we go. Well, I really hope that you have found this little insight to our fusible applique projects really helpful and useful, and I hope that you will check them out at sparrowquiltco.com. And I'm going to show you quickly how good it looks before we go. Isn't that sweet? Thanks for watching, guys, and bye for now.